Hello, it's Jenny Schmidt. I am here today to talk to you about something that is really important to me just because I've had a lot of people ask me about it. So many people say, okay, I want to live more sustainably, but I don't know how to do it. What's your best advice? And I say, well, I'm trying to learn too. So I've done some research and I put together this little PowerPoint to give you 10 ways that you can live more sustainably. First and foremost, contact your politicians, not just Mr. Trump, but local, state, and federal politicians. And let me tell you why, because they've got the power to make huge impacts, to increase standards, and to force businesses to improve their environmental responsibility. So one thing I wanted to give you with that is I can tell you to do that, but I also want to empower you to figure out how. So here are a bunch of links to show you the emails, phone, fax, websites, information to contact each of those 3 levels of government. You can also just go to usa.gov/elected officials, but I'm going to post the slides and links when I post my video so that you can have easy access to these as well. The second link I wanted to give you if you're planning on contacting your politicians, this is specific to climate change issues. So if you have an issue about how the environment is being taken care of or how climate change is impacting our global environment, this is one thing you'll want to use. What you just do is you put in your zip code and then it automatically recognizes who your senators and representative are, and you just type your message, hit send, and it'll send directly to their emails. The one thing I did want to tell you before you do that, though, is the importance of looking at what's out there, looking at websites that have information on what's already being done for the environment. And a lot of times they'll have statistics that can really help you back up your argument and supplement whatever communication you're going to send to them. So 2 examples I gave here are Littering and then the EPA website. And again, just look at some of those and see what's going on and if there's anything you can use in your email or correspondence. All right, number 2, another thing that you can do that'll really impact the environment is to purchase eco-friendly products. And in turn, that sort of demands bigger companies to start improving their standards because they're looking at sales data and they're saying, okay, well, this year we lost 30% of sales to eco-friendly companies like X, Y, and Z. So we need to become more environmentally responsible because that's what consumers are looking for. And one of the things I wanted to talk about with this topic is that, I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just, one industry that has eco-friendly products. I mean, there are eco-friendly cleaning supplies, eco-friendly clothing, eco-friendly candles. There's alternatives to everything. So this is just sort of a brief list to give you an idea that, next time you're shopping, these are a lot of daily items that you buy year after year. So when you're making that next big decision, think about what kind of alternative could I get and what other things are out there for me. Number 3, reduce, reuse, recycle. How many times have we heard this? I think we've all been told this from such a young age, but not really too much extensive knowledge from those 3 things. So one of the things I wanted to share with you that I've learned, and we talked about with Gary from Recology, was that there's an order to these of importance, and the best thing you can do is to reduce. And so what does that really mean? That's just saying that try your best to minimize your consumption and use sparingly, live simply, don't get a bunch of extra clothes that you don't need this year, or don't just get an outfit for one event. Live with what you've got. Number 2 is reuse. So that's finding products that can be used repeatedly, and even if they can't be used for the same function more than once, finding you can use it for something different when you're done with that original function, or just getting creative with what you have to find a different use for it. And the last thing, it's still important, just not as important as the others, but recycle. And that's something when you're buying, let's say you're at the grocery store, look at the packaging and does it have the little symbol on there that says that it's recyclable? If not, you're going to have to throw it in the trash and that's going to go to the landfill, and that sucks. So make sure you're looking for that. Most paper, wood, metals, cardboards are recyclable, but another thing that I thought was kind of unique is when you're looking at your recycle, sort through it so you have it based on like what type it is. All the papers are together, all the woods, all the same types of plastics. And also when you have recycle like ketchup bottles, make sure you clean the ketchup bottle so that it can be reused later. Number 4, compost your food. Is it nasty? No, it's not. Is it hard? No, it's not. Super easy and honestly super efficient. So some of you may ask why compost, and I wanted to share a really cool quote that I found from Darby Hoover, and she works for the National Resource Defense Council, and she's a senior resource specialist, and she had said, compost adds nutrients and organic matter back to soil, which benefits agriculture, reduces our reliance on synthetic fertilizers, diverts methane-producing organic materials from landfills, and improves soil water retention capacity so you don't need to use as much water. Still not sold. Honestly, it can save you money. That food was going to rot anyway, so you might as well use it for something good. But I also wanted to give you some resources because I know one of the first things I thought was like, well, I don't know what I can compost and what I can't compost. So here's a simple list you can reference, take a picture of it, or when I post the slides, take a screenshot. But you can also just Google it, honestly, and there will be a lot more extensive lists as well that will be super helpful. Next, I wanted to show you how to compost. So this was from a blogger, and they just sort of created a little checklist that you can go through if you have a yard. But if you have an apartment, it's a little bit trickier since you can't get right on the soil. I'm on the 3rd floor. So you can use different containers to still be able to do that. But this is a little how-to guide with some tips and tricks that you can reference as well. Next, a thing that composting can be very useful for is growing your own vegetables and home gardening. So why would that be helpful for the environment? Well, first of all, why not? Second of all, it'll save you money. You can get fresher produce right at your door. But it's lowering the pesticide exposure, and most importantly, it's reducing that carbon footprint from all the transportation emissions that we have from bringing even domestic products from California up to Oregon or California to Arizona. There's all of those truck driving costs that happen there, and the cost of, even the tractors and things to make all of that. You're able to eliminate a lot of that carbon footprint. And secondly, there's some social benefits. Like, one, gardening can be therapeutic. Hi, hello, going outside, being outside and getting that fresh air, doing something with your hands. And lastly, if you have more than what you need, you can share it with your neighbors, your family, your friends. Gives you an excuse to get together and cook. If you don't want to create your own garden, no problem. Next best thing you can do is buy local. And buying local is also important, not just for food, but also for material goods and other consumer packaged goods. And there's a lot of reasons why, but some of them that I want to share with you were mostly about, it's that same concept of reducing the carbon footprint from reducing emissions in transportation, and less transportation means less congestion, which means less emissions, less air pollution, less interaction with habitats and wildlife. And the other component of buying local that's really cool and important is that you get to have an impact on your local economy. So there was a group of researchers at Michigan State University. Go Green. I heard you just beat Michigan, which is a big deal. So go Spartans. But these researchers at MSU had found out that for every 2 out of 3 new jobs that were created each year, the local companies were the ones that were creating, 2/3 of those new jobs. So that means that $1 I spend at a local company has more of a chance of creating a new job than $1 I spend at a non-local company or a chain, a nationwide company. And kind of that same concept that buying local has a tendency to stimulate that same economy, and it's going to keep the money in that local economy better than when you're spending at a non-local company. Number 7. So don't use plastic products. This is so important, and I will be the first to admit that I'm super guilty of it, and I'm doing my best to, when I'm shopping, make sure I'm looking for the alternative that doesn't have a plastic container. But I just kind of wanted to share with you why that's so important. And one fact that I thought was really interesting is that more than 8 million tons of plastic are being dumped into our oceans every year. And another one that really killed me was that annually approximately 500 billion plastic bags are being used worldwide. More than 1 million bags are used every minute. So that one, the minute you think about if we all just carry it with our hands, or we all have reusable grocery bags, we can just cut that out. So for me, that is just really important because, like, that's such an easy thing to cut out. You just have to be actively thinking about it, but it's easy to forget those reusable grocery bags. And so my friend Liv gave me a piece of advice, and I thought this was a cool idea, but when you make your grocery list, if you put it inside those reusable bags, you're probably going to be more likely to grab it when you're going to the store, because you don't want to forget your grocery list when you're going to the grocery store either. So you're killing two birds with one stone. Just an idea, food for thought. But yeah, these are some other facts you can take a look at. But the other thing I want to share with you is plastic's impact on our oceans and rivers and waters, bodies of water. And that's when you start to see what's called marine debris, which is any sort of collection of manufactured goods, anything that doesn't belong in water. So fishing nets, milk containers, you name it. And this is actually a growing and large problem that we're facing worldwide. And it's predominantly coming from plastics, and super preventable. So the impact that it's having, though, because it's not, necessarily getting any better, is that we're seeing, that's where you see pictures of the turtles that have a 6-pack of, the plastic Coke holders wrapped around their turtle shell, and they're getting entangled. They're ingesting these things which are harmful for them. There's economic cost to clean all of that marine debris, and then it's really taking a toll on our habitat. So another really important reason why we need to reduce our plastic consumption. And I also wanted to outline what are some of those main things that we're buying that are plastic, the popular items. So some that were noted are Tupperware, plastic bottles, plastic light switches and switch holders, PVC pipes, the little kitchen garbage cans, indoor and outdoor plastic chairs, and those awful, dirty, scummy plastic bags. These are all things that actually have eco-friendly alternatives. So next time you go to buy Tupperware, next time you go to buy something that comes in a plastic bottle, think about, oh, what kind of other materials could this come in? Can I look it up real quick? Do a quick Google search and see what you can find. There's literally so many alternatives to these things now. So don't be afraid to bite the bullet on price and get something that's a lot better for the environment. 8, no littering and help clean up trash. So, no littering. Simple, right? Another thing we've heard our whole lives. So easy, right? No. So I think a lot of us may think we're doing a good job because we're not littering, but I think where the most help can come is helping clean up trash. So a lot of people still do litter, and there is some accidental littering. So what kinds of things can we do to continue to take care of that trash? And I wanted to give you a couple of engagement ideas. So one is, like, I remember I used to walk from my home in Tucson to the Starbucks, and I'd always see little cigarette packings or straws, things like that, and I would just put them in a bag, and then when I got to Starbucks, if they had the recycle bin, I put it in there. If not, I'd wait until I got home, and then I put it in my recycling bin. So it's another thing you can do if you're literally just walking, you see stuff. Don't be afraid to pick up other people's trash, because at the end of the day, it's all global trash. We all have to take some sort of, responsibility for what else is out there. The next thing is adopt a highway. You've probably seen those signs. It doesn't have to be just you, but you can get your family involved, or an organization or fraternity or sorority, and you guys can, get together and adopt that highway and take care of it. Beach cleanups, hundreds of organizations. You just gotta look them up. There's for oceans, rivers, lakes, you name it. there's somebody trying to clean it up, so just look around. And then one thing that I think is important is organizing business philanthropy. So I know I used to work for a company, and they got together and they were in California, and they all went out to the beach and they got on paddleboards. So fun, right? What a fun day. And they went out and they picked up trash out of the ocean together. So it was a great way to bond, but you're also making an impact, which makes you feel even better at the end of the day. But there's other ways to make it competitive. Can marketing beat accounting to pick up more trash, and incentivize through your company to get people motivated to go out and go? Or one way to incentivize your kids is to get creative and make it into something like a scavenger hunt, or a contest, anything. Kids love that. Make it into a story. Incentivize them with a toy or an eco-friendly toy. But there's lots of things you can do. 9, so household reductions. This one I think people will really love because it's stuff you can do every day. Huge list here. I mean, if you just want to kind of skim it yourself, but there's tons of things you can do transportation wise, or when you're taking your showers, or stuff with your electricity. Especially, this is a big one now that we have phones, iPads, computers, Apple Watches. Make sure you take them out when they're not being charged. And then buy energy efficient products, and work to reduce your food waste as well. Lastly, and most importantly, be skeptical, keep researching, and keep innovating. Thank you so much for watching, and please let me know what are things you're doing, any questions you have. I really appreciate it. Thank you.